Warning, this video may contain spoilers for the TV show or movie that we discuss in this video. If you have not yet watched the TV show or movie that this video is about, please come back to the video at a later time after you have watched the content that was discussed. You have been warned. How's it going, everybody? This is Rob of Novakast, back with another video. This is actually going to be a review, a full-on review of the entire series of the show Beastars. Now, this, I have no idea how to even talk about this. I was recommended this show by a couple of people. I've seen clips of it. I've heard some of some audio taken from the show, and I just, all in all, I will say hit or miss when it comes to some of the dialogue as well as the clips. And that's, I think for the most part, especially with the clips, more likely due to the animation, which we'll get to that in a second. So this show is basically, I hate to use use Zootopia as a kind of reference, but the basic thing is human bodies with animal features and heads. That's basically it. And it's basically, there's somewhat of a divide between the herbivores and carnivores. Students strive to become this one individual called the Beastar, which is kind of like the one that will help lead. I guess not lead would be the perfect word. Perhaps motivate people to kind of join together. And it's a work in progress to become a Beastar. Our characters, right after, I will say, what sets up everything is this whole gruesome death of a character, and we slowly get introduced to a lot of the characters and a lot of the situations, mostly following Legoshi, Haru, Louis, and a few other characters. Now, I think I'm going to go ahead and start with the animation. The animation is sort of a mix between, and I could be wrong on this. Somebody let me know if I am wrong. There have been moments where there was a little bit of 2D animation, very rarely. But for the most part, it's 3D animation. Now, I'm going to say right off the bat, I have never been a fan of 3D animation used for anime. I have always thought it was really clunky. The dialogue never matches with the the sync for the character's mouth movement. And it always felt clunky and just kind of slack-jawed in some sense. I know some people are going to get offended, but understand that this is just opinion-based. So, I will say, to some extent, the animation, especially with 3D animation, to some extent, when it comes to more of the action moments, does its job. It really does. But when it comes to dialogue, it was not my cup of tea. Especially when you have characters talking. And like I said, a lot of the dialogue, especially with the English dub, does not fit very well with the dialogue for the characters. Now, speaking of characters, every single one of these characters, especially with the main couple of characters that we have, a lot of them are very tragic. To some extent, we can start with Legoshi, who is a character who is kind of a loner, somebody who is, I guess, who's been prosecuted over time and has dealt with people treating him differently because he's a wolf. And that goes for like a lot of the other characters. We learn a little bit of characters' backstories like Haru or Louis. And they have their own motivations and trials and tribulations that they end up dealing with. Especially with a lot of the other characters that we introduce. Or at least they introduce into the show. When it comes to some of the music used. Okay, I'm going to say this. The intro song for this was actually kind of entertaining to listen to. I do want a track of that. Because it was actually nice. And it had a sort of jazz feel to it. I don't know, jazz? I guess it is jazz. But it was interesting as well as the intro that it had, where it was kind of like a puppet animation. It kind of reminded me of some of the old puppet animation we've seen, like for, was it like The Mysterious Mr. Fox? I thought it was kind of cool. Now, I will say with situations, or at least with the show, oh my gosh, as well, I guess, just the bottom line of this. Did I find this to be a good show? That's a hard one, considering the fact that with everything going on in this particular show, and you guys will get to watch the Let's Watch videos after I release this review. I say repeatedly that with certain moments of the show, it kind of feels like a fever dream, where, for those who don't know what a fever dream is, it's when you're so sick that you start hallucinating. With some moments of this show, that's how I felt, where I'm just thinking, this is not real, there's no freaking way. What I'm seeing is not happening. But sure enough, I mean, since it's on Netflix, it is. But I will say there was maybe one or two moments that I did like. And I ask you guys to watch Let's Watch videos after this to see which video I am actually talking about. Because there is one particular moment, and I've applauded this moment where I will say there's a transition, which kind of reminds me of like transformation of Legoshi giving into his base instincts. Now there are moments like that where it's just really cool, but a lot of the other stuff, especially with the characters and some of the scenarios that they have to deal with, I'm just like, what the fuck? Most of it. But I will say that if there's a season 2, I may end up watching it just to see where it goes. Going back to animation though, there were a couple moments where they used still images to kind of express internal dialogue, and I actually thought that was really cool. So all in all, and I know I'm gonna make a few people that I know mad when I say this, besides one moment in the show, as far as I can tell as I'm recording this show was, for the most part, not my cup of tea. I know, and I'm trying to be as nice as I can. I'm not like other reviewers where I'm just gonna crap on it like intensively, like, oh, this just burn it, piss on the ashes. No, I will say it has its moments. It has its moments of shining as a show. I will say, if I can applaud one other thing, the backstories for the characters and some of the dialogue as well as the conflict. That, I will say, I liked. There was one particular episode, I will say, that I actually enjoyed. Out of the 12 episodes that we have. But all in all, for the most part, especially with a lot of the stuff that happens in the show, the animation was not my favorite. Besides combat, dialogue in the animation was very clunky. The character designs in some way confused me, but it kind of reminded me of stuff like Mr. Fox. The intro music and some of the outro music was actually really nice. I enjoyed that. And all in all, it's a mixed bag. It's one of those scenarios where I'm at a loss for words on what to give it, at the very least, when it comes to what I feel about this show. So, and I'm with this video, I'm actually going to start a new rating system, and I'm kind of stealing it from I guess not stealing it, borrowing from podcasts like Anime Pulse, for those who know what that is, where it's buy it, Netflix, crackers, or burn it, piss in the ashes. With this show, I'm gonna go ahead and give it a Netflix. Not something that you would probably buy, but you can maybe watch once and then, have your own opinions on it. Okay, I think I'm going to go ahead and end this video here. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys can, please comment, like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Follow us on social media. Links are in the description if you guys want to follow MJ, Aden, and Magi on some of their gaming streams. Go check them out on Twitch and YouTube, as well as follow some of our other content like the Let's Watches and Let's Plays that I'm producing, as well as other stuff that we produce on a daily basis, as well as check out our weekly podcast, which is at 6 p.m. Pacific time on Sundays. This is Rob of Novakast signing off. Have a good one and take care. Peace.